Am I the asshole for refusing to give my ex-girlfriend's dog back after she abandoned it with me for a year? Throwaway and fake names. I, 29M, broke up with my ex, Chloe, 28F, about 14 months ago. It was messy. When she moved out, she asked if I could watch her dog, a senior dachshund Frank, for a couple weeks while she found a pet-friendly place. I agreed because I love that dog. Weeks turned into months. For the first few months, she'd text to ask about him, but she never came to visit or sent money for food or vet bills. The texts slowly stopped. After 6 months, I texted her and said, "Hey, are you getting Frank soon? His food and care are expensive." She did reply after a day, "I'm still looking, thanks so much for doing this." At the 10-month mark, Frank had a big vet bill. I spent over $300-ish on for him, and I lost my job ATM. I didn't even bother texting her. She hadn't reached out in 4 months. I paid for it, and I officially considered him my dog. Last week, out of the blue, Chloe shows up at my door. She's got a new job, a new apartment, and a new boyfriend. She said, "I'm here for Frank. Thanks for watching him." I told her no. I said she abandoned him. I've been his sole caretaker for over a year, and I paid for his bills and food. She got hysterical, calling me a thief. She said he was her emotional support animal during our relationship, and she needs him back. She offered to pay me back for the surgery, in installments. I told her to get lost, and shut the door. Now she's blowing up my phone, and her new boyfriend is sending me threatening messages. My friends are split. Some say I saved the dog and he's mine. Others say I'm being a bitter ex and stealing her property out of spite, and that I should have given her a chance to pay me back. Not the asshole, you have recent vet bills in your name, so legally the dog is yours. If he has a microchip, get it registered in your name ASAP. If Frank really was her emotional support dog, she never would have left him with you. If Frank really was her emotional support dog, she never would have left him with you. Apero this. You are not the asshole. I actually did something similar with a relative who abandoned a dog with us, and then asked to have her back a year and a half later. That is your dog now. Do not take her calls. She has not even checked in on the dog in how long. Not so much as a text or a surprise shipment of treats from Amazon. She abandoned him. He's your dog now. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. She isn't going to the police or filing a report because she knows she has no leg to stand on. You could also go to the police yourself for the threatening messages. Not the asshole. No visiting, no checking in on the dog, no sending you money to pay for the dog's basic needs and medical care. You're absolutely correct in the fact she abandoned the dog. The law in most places would agree after that amount of time as well. Make sure you keep copies of all the vet care in your name, and if you still have receipts of food or other necessities spent on him as backup in case she tries to escalate this. Am I the asshole for removing my sister-in-law from the family Spotify plan? I got married a couple weeks ago, and we're in the process of merging our finances. This includes going through all of our subscriptions to reduce redundancy and sync our bills. In doing so, we realized that my husband's brother's ex-wife is still on his family Spotify plan. Because she is, we can't add me. My husband started the family plan about 6 years ago, for himself and his 2 older brothers. It allows him to have 4 separate accounts in the plan, and the cost per account is lower than paying for them individually. When the plan was created, each brother got an account, and the last account went to the middle brother's wife. The plan is under my husband's name, so he is the administrator. He gets billed annually, and the others reimburse him for their share. At the time, this made perfect sense. They all saved some money. The middle brother was the only one with a spouse, and although my husband and I had been together for about a year at the time, I was about to start grad school, so I could still get the student pricing, and thus had no reason to join the plan. Now, it makes less sense. I'm out of school, we're married, and the middle brother got divorced about a year and a half ago. We can easily afford to keep my separate Spotify, but we also realized the ex never paid my husband back when the plan renewed this year. So we agreed it made more sense to remove her and add me in order to simplify our subscriptions. So that's exactly what my husband did. He deactivated her, joined my Spotify to the plan, and texted his middle brother to let the ex know. We didn't text her directly because she became extremely volatile during their divorce, so the brother asked our whole family not to contact her directly so all communication could flow through a specific moderated messaging app that their lawyers recommended. This has caused a family conflict. The middle brother is mad at us because he feels like we're forcing him to have another fight with his ex, just so we could save a buck. It's true that she will definitely be set off by this. Plus, he feels like she deserves to stay on the plan because they were together for a long time, aka, longer than my husband and I. We can definitely see how it sucks for him to have to reach out to his ex, and inevitably piss her off. On the other hand, the oldest brother agrees with us. She can't stay on their family plan forever just to avoid a conflict. It's healthier to sever these last ties. She chose to leave the family, divorce was her call, so she gave up any family-related benefits, and there are logical reasons for me to join the plan now. So, internet strangers, am I the asshole for asking to join my husband's family Spotify plan, and thereby forcing his brother to have a conflict with his ex? And texted his middle brother to let the ex know. I don't think it is necessary that middle brother lets her know. She is bound to notice the next time she tries to use Spotify and will either just accept that she is not part of that family anymore, by her own choice, or will reach out from her side to bitch about it, in which case middle brother has the same fight as he is fearing for when he reaches out to let her know. And if she complains about it, the answer to "why did you remove me?" should simply be, "You didn't pay for it at the last renewal, so we assumed you don't want to be on it anymore." And who knows, maybe she is not even actively using it currently, and not paying for it was actually her way of saying, "I'm not part of this deal anymore." Not the asshole. She wasn't paying for the plan, so she shouldn't be on it. Her leaving the family is also a good reason to kick her off, but harsher to say. Not the asshole. This is fairly straightforward. You say she hasn't paid her share this year. So, she loses the right to be kept on the plan. Her ex, the brother, has told everyone not to contact her directly. You're not forcing him to get into a fight. He's created this bottleneck. He has my sympathy, but he's wrong about her deserving anything. I can't blame him for not wanting to deal with her, but he's not paying her share either. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. She's no longer family, and she's not paying. She has no say. I wouldn't even inform her about the change, let her find out on her own. If she pitches a fit, tell the brother, just to tell her simply that it's a family plan. She's no longer family. No further explanation is needed. It's up to him if he wants to placate her, but that's not on you. Not your monkey, not your zoo. Too long did not read. Not the asshole. My brother broke with his ex, and she and her family were still using his Netflix plan. They had profiles on there and everything. When me and my younger brother found out due to watching something on his TV, we immediately addressed it with him and our mom. He was quite defensive and said that she had profiles and watch history on there that he didn't want to disrupt, like Taff. She cheated on you with one of your friends, and you still defend and look out for her like this. Me and my mom were raging. I deleted all her profiles and kicked off her session later that day. Why is this even a question? She is no longer family. This is no longer on the family's plan. Why notify her? She'll figure it out. Am I the asshole dog sitting for my boss and saying no to her husband's friends crashing at the house? Basically, my boss asked if I could dog sit for her and her husband while they're away on vacation. I'm 21F, and my boss is probably in her 50s, as is her husband. I stayed at their house while I watched him for almost 2 weeks. I didn't have any problem with the arrangements until the first night that they're gone. I get a text from her asking if I minded if a man that her husband used to be in a band with crashed in the basement while I was there. She said that I'll barely see him, and he stayed there before when he needed a place to crash. But she showed me the downstairs, and it's not like there's a bathroom down there, or even a bed. Not that it matters, I guess maybe there's a blow-up mattress or something. But the only door the basement is inside the house, just around the corner of the bedroom I'm staying in. No locks inside either. I just felt uneasy about it, and was trying to figure out what to say, and she told me unless it makes me uncomfortable. I tried to be honest, and say it's nothing against this guy. But having never met him, I didn't think I'd be comfortable, essentially have a man I didn't know in the house, but if it's too hard for him to find other accommodations, I guess we can work it out. So she told me it's fine and he'll figure something else out, but her texts were really short, and I get the feeling she's pissed at me. I kind of feel like I'm the asshole because this guy is obviously someone she knows, and I probably offended her / made things difficult for him. But the whole thing would have been really out of my comfort zone too. Edit. Wow, I wasn't expecting so many people to have thoughts about this. I'm going to see my boss at work, and then I will see how she acts around me, trying not to overthink about it. I feel better knowing it wasn't outrageous for me to say no. Thank you all. In my opinion, she was totally in the wrong to even ask. It just wasn't appropriate. Not the asshole who on earth asks any woman who is dog/house sitting if it's okay for some random man they don't know from a hole in the wall if it's okay to stay at the house. What a ridiculous request. Your 50-something-year-old boss has no business even asking if you were okay with putting yourself in a potentially dangerous situation. Either she's dumber than a box of rocks or utterly clueless. Not the asshole, but your boss is. Putting a 20-something YO female in the home alone with a 50-something YO male isn't appropriate or safe. If the man is wanting to stay over, maybe he should watch the dog and relieve you of your duties. Boss crossed a major boundary, in my opinion. Not the asshole. If her husband's friend is crashing at their place, he can dog sit. There is zero reason for you to be uncomfortable in a home with a man you don't know who is twice your age. I'm not saying he would do anything, but you don't know. Being a woman, we have to be hypersensitive to the world around us, and strange men are a threat until we know otherwise. Tell your boss that plans have changed because you're uncomfortable, and she obviously doesn't understand that. Info: if her husband's friend is coming to stay, surely he can dog sit. You photograph the place and the dog to prove condition you are leaving both in. Then, you meet the stranger outside the house to hand over the key and responsibility. Then you never agree to this arrangement with a work boss/colleague again. Bad business, as you are discovering with your boss's attitude. Not the asshole, she should not have asked you. Am I the asshole for not telling my fiancé to not wear jeans to an event? Backstory: my fiancé and I are getting married at a country club. My parents used to be members there around 25 years ago. My mom mentioned once that when she was a member there, they had a dress code and you weren't allowed to wear jeans. She said I should put on our wedding FAQ that guests shouldn't wear jeans. I told her I wouldn't specify about jeans since it already says our wedding dress code was formal. Fast forward to this weekend. Our venue was having a little event where you could come in and see some different table setting options and talk to some different local vendors. It was an open house type of event. Before heading to the event, I went with my parents, my fiancé, and his parents out to lunch. My fiancé was wearing a nice pair of jeans. I didn't think anything of it. But before we headed over to the event, my mom was freaking out to me about how he's wearing jeans, and she didn't know if they would even let him inside. I told her it'd be totally fine and pointed out that she's wearing yoga pants, and it's not an issue. After the event, I asked her what she thought of the venue. It was her first time seeing the wedding space. She just said that she didn't like how I pointed out that she wore yoga pants, and that I should have remembered to tell him to not wear jeans. I said sorry about the yoga pants comment, that I didn't mean it was a bad outfit. I just meant that none of us were dressed up super fancy, since it wasn't a super fancy event. I said I honestly forgot what she had said like 2 months ago about jeans, and she said, "How could you forget that?" Then, I told her that I wished we could have just done something nice for my wedding without her getting upset about something. She then told my dad that I said that she ruins everything about my wedding. Not what I said. Now she's pretty much icing me out and won't leave her bedroom. Am I the asshole? What should I do? This entire post just channeled my mother. I need to go lay down. Not the asshole. If she thought yoga pants were appropriate, then she has nowhere to talk about your fiancé wearing jeans. Plus, that was 25 years ago. They apparently did away with the rule, otherwise neither of them would have been allowed in. Not the asshole, she was wearing athletic wear. She did not like being called out and is now pouting. Let her wear her drama out. Not the asshole. Clearly yoga pants are more casual than jeans. She was being hypocritical. And the people at the venue didn't say anything, right? And if they had, that would frankly be a reason not to choose this venue because that's ridiculous. She won't leave her bedroom? Like a 5-year-old? You don't do anything. Your mother is acting like a child, so you treat her as such. If she wants to have a tantrum, let her. You ignore it. You've already apologized, even though you shouldn't have had to. She refuses to accept it. Until she can apologize to you for her behavior, I say just go about your life. Plan your wedding. If she wants to be involved in that, then she needs to act like an adult. Not the asshole. Not the asshole, and this is your sign to not overly involve her in your wedding plans. Yoga pants are way more casual than jeans.